Next up, we have a old timer. We've had this storyteller join us a couple times, and she has some fun characters and fun stories. And it's always nice to have her back in the house. Please give it up for Lisa Ebel.
So I've always been obsessed with old women, especially grandmothers. When I was in high school, I went to a pool party at my friend Gina's. Now, Gina was Italian. She had 3 older brothers. They were tan, very good looking. And yet the person that caught my eye was her Grandma Ann. She sat poolside, talking and laughing with her children and her grandchildren. I was so amazed by her that I went home and wrote her a fan letter. I did, for real. Dear Grandma Ann, thank you for inviting me to your party. I so enjoyed meeting you and your family. I hope to someday have a life just like yours, with a close relationship with all of my children and grandchildren. Thank you for being a role model for me. Love, Lisa. This is what I've always wanted in life, to be a mother, to be a grandmother. And with this goal in mind, my idol was Ma. I thought it was so cool that Ma was not only short for grandma, but Mary was her first name, so it was also, could be short for Mary. Every time I visited Ma, she'd take me into her sewing room where she had seemingly endless supply of fabric and patterns. And together we'd sift through and pick the best fabric she had, the cutest pattern, and she would make me an outfit that was to die for. I just felt so loved, so special every time I wore anything that Ma crafted for me. Now, breakfast at Ma's, holy cow. First she'd put some fruit in front of me, and then some oatmeal, and after that a few donuts. And then some scrambled eggs. And then you'd need some hash browns on the side of those, and then maybe a little yogurt with some more fruit. And then after I packed all that away, she would set a big-ass dessert right in front of me. Now, my favorite was her chocolate cake with buttercream frosting. Now, after I polished that off, I would hear her sweet little voice, Lisa, do you need another piece of cake? Breakfast doesn't get any better than that. Ma was something. She always knew exactly what I needed. She let me sit on her lap even after I outweighed her. Probably her breakfast. But she knew, even though I was adult-sized, that there was still a little girl inside of me who really needed to feel safe, who needed to feel loved. And probably the feeling came back to her legs after a little bit of time. So I can't sit on Ma's lap anymore, but sometimes I still wrap myself in the blue blanket that she sewed for me when I went away to college. And even after I graduated, well, actually I took a break, so after I left, I slept with that blanket underneath the sheet, right next to my skin, so that I could enjoy all the softness and absorb all the love that Ma sewed into that blanket. And then my dream of being a mother came true. We had our first son, Ken. Now, Ken means handsome and strong, and he is both of those things, and oh, good Lord, so much more. And when he was a baby, I wanted to do nothing other than sit there and hold him. I held that boy when he was awake. I held him when he was asleep. I held him all the time, and I just felt this peace that I didn't even know existed before he was born. So naturally, we spent a lot of time cuddling in my bed with the blue blanket. So when my handsome and strong son got his big boy bed, he took it with him. And then he slept with it right next to his skin, absorbing all the love that Ma sewed into it. So when my strong and handsome son was 18, I was going through kind of a rough patch. So he walks into my room, he covers me with a blue blanket and says, Mom, I'm giving this back to you because you need it more than I do right now. But I want it left to me in the will. Even as a badass teenager, he knew that the value of love that's passed down from one generation to the next is really all that life is about. So that teenager is now a full-blown adult with 3 children of his own. They call me Grandma Silly. And being their grandmother is even more spectacular than I dreamed it would be way back in the day when I was idling or oogling Grandma Ann. So recently, my loves came over for a sleepover, which I kind of like to think of it as Grandma Silly Camp. So what do we do at Grandma Silly Camp? We do whatever the hell we want. So my oldest granddaughter, Carmela, the 8-year-old blue-eyed wonder who named me Grandma Silly. She's almost like a professional in gymnastics. She can do like a round off and a flip-flop. And so she likes to lead me in the little kids in gymnastics class. You know, she's a firstborn like her dad. She's a natural-born leader just like him. But she's also kind. Like, she doesn't force us to do the hard stuff she does. You know, she lets us just do, somersaults, stretching. And now when Carmela stretches, I would say she's stretching her hamstring. She puts her legs out like this, and her head just goes like right to the ground. So then it's my turn. So I put my legs, and there I am stretching. But she's so compassionate. She says, it's okay, Grandma Silly. Just do the best job you can do. But yet, she tries to get me to be better. So I'm sitting there like this, and she takes her cute little foot and just pushes my toe. And holy shit, that really makes the hamstring stretch. So after gymnastics class is over, we have dinner. Now, I am not the amazing cook that Ma was. But the grandkids, they seem not to care at all. My 5-year-old granddaughter, Valerie, she has wild, curly, blonde hair, and she's got a wild and curly personality to go right with it. She's constantly in motion. At dinner, she usually stands in her chair. Now, I'm happy that it's her turn to say prayer because she has this one line, and I hope she never forgets it. She starts off with the usual, thank you, God, for Mom and Dad, my brother, sister. Of course, she's, thank you for Grandma Silly. That makes me really happy. Thank you for this delicious dinner, which is probably Kraft macaroni and cheese. Thank you, God, for all the tigers in the world. It's her favorite animal. And then I listen for it, and here it comes. And dear God, thank you for me. And I'm so happy because she knows that she is a gift to this world. So after dinner, we go into the grandkids' room. We don't do the dishes because we're at Grandma Silly Camp, so we just leave those. Carmela and Val, they start playing with the Beanie Babies. So I watch their little brother, my youngest grandchild, Maximus Hawk. He takes a puzzle out of the rack and he dumps it out. So I think, okay, well, we're going to do a puzzle. And then he takes out another puzzle and he dumps that out. And then I think, well, I guess we're doing 2 puzzles. And then he takes out another and dumps it, another, dumps it, another, dumps it, another, dumps it. And then this puzzle case is empty. And I catch on to what my genius grandson has done. He saw that that puzzle case would be the perfect home for his much-loved dogs, Bowie and Clifford. And he puts their new home right next to his bed, and he puts them in there. So eventually it is bedtime. So after brushing their teeth and putting on pajamas and running around the house, the 4 of us head into Grandma Silly's bedroom to read. The Berenstain Bears, Clifford the Red Dog, the usual. And then I tuck in my 3 loves. Carmela with her special green blanket, Val with her silky, and Maxie with his Bowie and Clifford. And then I head to the linen closet, and I take out the blue blanket, the blanket of love. And I remember tucking Ken, my strong and handsome son, underneath it. Smooth, Mom, he would instruct every night. I want my blanket smooth. And so I'd lovingly smooth it out in the same room where I just tucked his 3 kids into bed. And then I lay under the blanket. It's pretty thin now, so it barely keeps my body warm. But that thing still warms my heart. She put a lot of love into it. And I think back to, the fan letter that I wrote to Gina's Grandma Ann. almost 40 years ago. And I give thanks that all of my dreams have come true. You know, I think I wanted to be a mother and a grandmother because I wanted to have people to love. And that's the same reason that Ken asked for the blanket. He wasn't simply asking for the blanket. He was saying he wanted the love that Ma showed me, the love that I passed on to him, and the love that he has for his children to continue. So someday, Ken will inherit the blanket of love. Probably not anytime soon, because Grandma Silly's got a lot of good years left. But when he does, I'll be at peace because I will know that he will continue Ma's legacy of love. Thank you.
All right. I know that there's a perfect song out there that I don't know. So I'm gonna have to do this one. This is also a perfect song, just in general. Intangible, incredible, inventive, unforgettable, exceptional, desirable, successful, undeniable, adaptable, agreeable, approachable, amenable, valuable, respectable, powerful, indispensable. I am beautiful. I am magical. I am fantastical. Nothing's gonna bring me down. I am unbeatable. I am unbreakable. I am irreplaceable. Nothing's gonna bring me down, 'cause I am what I am. Lovable, colorful, noticeably wonderful, individual, original. I'm anything but typical. Blissful, grateful, hopeful, faithful, joyful, soulful, peaceful, playful, tactful, truthful, thoughtful, tasteful, thankful, tranquil, gentle, graceful. I am beautiful. I am magical. I am fantastical. Nothing's gonna bring me down. I am unbeatable. I am unbreakable. I am irreplaceable. Nothing's gonna bring me down, 'cause I am what I am. I got my head in the clouds and my feet on the ground. I'm standing on a spinner, holding on to all I'm worth, and if I fall down, I'll get up again. I know what I am. Yeah, I am unbeatable. I am unbreakable. I am irreplaceable. Nothing's gonna bring me down, 'cause I am what I am. I am what I am. I am what I am. Thank you.
Kathy Richardson, original song.
Thank you.
I am that I am. Get it on iTunes.
Get it on iTunes right now.
Go.
Pull your phone out.
Pull your phone up. First one in there gets the
12
prize.
to 19 weeks, I will receive exactly 1 penny.